What's up, YouTube? My name's Teddy Benz, and I'm jumping on the Doucette Anabolic ice cream bandwagon. And you know, this is my first YouTube video, and I was a bit hesitant to make it, but Coach Greg really inspired me. I figured, you know, if Iago from Aladdin can be YouTube famous, why can't I?
He sounds like that parrot from Aladdin.
Just kidding, Coach Greg. You are my favorite, not a doctor, ever. At least on YouTube. And if Coach Greg has taught me anything, it's how to make it on YouTube. So I'm gonna follow a couple of his steps. Step 1, have more hair. Step 2, take off your shirt. There's my microphone. Step 3, chase clout. And that's kind of what this whole YouTube video is, but I won't stop with just Greg Doucette. Austin Dunham, Stan Brownie, Athlean X, V-Shred. V-Shred. If that didn't appease the YouTube algorithm, I don't know what will. Let me throw in Joe Rogan, just to be safe. So I'm obviously not going to make my food shirtless, so let me get into some more appropriate attire, okay? Give me one second. Alright, how do I look? I've actually been making some version of this myself the past couple years, but compared to Coach Greg's, I'd say mine is more of like a smoothie. I'm gonna go ahead and make his and see how much superior his is to mine. I've got all my ingredients laid out next to my handy dandy scale. It's a really great tool, especially for beginners. It allows you to weigh out all your food and know exactly how much you're consuming rather than just eyeballing it. And here's probably the most important tool in my kitchen, my Ninja blender. No Vitamixes, right, Coach Greg? You can see how much I love it. I just use it a ton. It's all banged up. The first ingredient up is whey protein. I use the Impact Whey from MyProtein just because it's really good value and I'm cheap. Well, frugal really, but that's beyond the point. So the flavor of choice here is peanut popcorn. Unfortunately, MyProtein doesn't have a specifically peanut butter or peanut butter cup flavor, so I settled for peanut popcorn, and I'm sure Coach Greg can forgive me because, you know, it's got popcorn in the name, right? Next is xanthax gum. This is the missing ingredient from the smoothie ice cream that I've been making in the past. It's what's gonna really thicken things up. I like to add just a little bit more than Coach Greg does, but I'm careful not to overdo it because I've done that before and it just becomes kind of like a big foamy mess. So use it, but sparingly. Up next is frozen fruit. This time I'm using strawberries. I don't always add fruit to the ice cream, but if I'm feeling like I want it to be a bit more tangy, not quite so sweet, I usually add the fruit in. Up next is probably the most important ingredient, ice. This is what's going to really make things thick and add a lot of volume. So the more that you want, the more ice you should add. Just keep in mind that the more ice you do add, the less flavorful it'll be. It's not going to destroy the flavor, it just won't be quite as flavorful. So if you're adding a lot of ice, you might want to compensate for that by adding some kind of artificial sweetener or even sugar if you want it. Just keep in mind that if you add sugar, you're going to be adding calories. At least substantially more calories than you would find in an artificial sweetener, because artificial sweeteners aren't calorie free, but they have such a low amount of calories in them that they're negligible. So here come my ingredients that make up for not using chocolate peanut butter cup protein powder. First is cocoa powder, and then next up is peanut flour. I like to use this instead of PB2 that Coach Greg uses. Not a huge difference calorie wise, but there aren't any added sugars. It's just straight up ground peanuts, which I like. And then we've got some kind of green leafy vegetable. Here I've got kale and spinach. I'm sure Coach Greg is disappointed in my use of kale. He'd like to see just pure spinach, but hey, I like the mixture. Get a little bit of diversity in there. But the reason I like to add vegetables, another way to get in my micronutrients, and you really can't taste the leafy greens in there. All the other ingredients just mask that flavor, and if I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't even know. So if you're someone who really struggles to get in their daily vegetable servings, this is a great technique to go about hitting those numbers. And then just a little bit of water. This just helps get the blending process going. I actually am weird and weigh out my water. It's about 60 to 65 grams, which is just under 1/3 of a cup. And then we get the blending. have to stop a couple times, once or twice, to scrape down ingredients that will inevitably fly up onto the sides, out of the way of the blade. So just push those back down in there so that they're back into the big ice cream concoction we've got going here. So scrape, scrape, scrape. Keep on scraping. Scrapity scrape. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Get a little ASMR going for you here. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Scrape, scrape, scrape. And then we're back to blending. And it really is an amazing thing to watch. At first, it doesn't seem like there's that much volume in there, but as the ice is breaking down, mixing with the xanthax gum, it just starts to build and build. By the end, you're going to see that this has almost reached the top. So this ice cream clocks in at just around 70 ounces. It has about 550 calories and a whopping 63 grams of protein, and only 9 grams of fat. Let's compare that to a large 21-ounce Dairy Queen Blizzard. I'll even try to make things look as good as possible for the Blizzard, but you'll still be able to see just how awesome this anabolic ice cream is. So I took the nutrition facts for the lowest calorie large Blizzard. That's the Butterfinger. We're looking at 970 calories, 142 grams of carbs, 34 grams of fat, and only 24 grams of protein. With the anabolic ice cream, you're getting way more protein and over 3 times the volume for just over half the calories. Put another way, if I shrink the anabolic ice cream to a third of its size, you're looking at only 184 calories, 18 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fat, and still 21 grams of protein for just about the same volume as the Blizzard, depending on how much ice you put in. That's pretty awesome. This is exactly the low-calorie dense food that is going to keep you happy with the taste and satiated by the volume. Incorporate this into your meal plan, and I think you'll find it fairly simple and easy to reach your calorie deficit goals. Alright, I'm back, the ice cream's done, and it's time for a little thickness test because Coach Greg's ice cream is famed for being thick. So, without further ado, here goes nothing. Wow, impressive. Kind of like a brick. But let's taste it, because if it tastes like a brick too, then brick thickness means nothing. Alright, so I've got my handy dandy extra long spoon, and let's try to give it a try. Greg, I had high hopes for this. And you delivered. Like, okay, I'm not gonna act that surprised because I've been making this for months now. It's replaced my version of it, and it's just so good. It's so much better, thicker, creamier. I'm never going back to making my version of it, except for right now to show you the overhead test. Okay, so you guys aren't gonna believe this, but the first time I went ahead and did my the test of my own ice cream overhead, it wasn't recording, so I did that and cleaned it all up for nothing. So I'll have to come back and do it again tomorrow, and yeah. You can see the remnants of the kale, and I'm feeling a bit sticky, so we'll do it again. What I do for my non-existent YouTube audience. Let's do it tomorrow then. Oh, that's stupid. That's really stupid. Hey guys, I'm back again, next day. I have another version of my ice cream made. It's kind of more the consistency of a smoothie, but that's what I used to think of as ice cream before I came across Coach Greg's anabolic ice cream. Sorry if the audio seems a little off. I think my test yesterday may have just destroyed my microphone. So right now you have to live with this crappy audio until I get a new lav mic. Here it is. As you can tell, it's a lot more liquidy and greener than Coach Greg's. It's obviously heavily dominated by those vegetables. I mean, I thought it tasted good, but after tasting Coach Greg's version, I don't think so much anymore. I guess I'm just now in the game of making ice cream harder than last time, right, Coach Greg? Alright, let's just get to the moment you've wanted to see. I'm making sure I'm still recording, and here we go with another Teddy's ice cream overhead test. Here we go. If that isn't worth a like, a comment, a subscribe, and a share, then I don't know what is. Hey, if you made it to the end of this video, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm looking to really grow this channel into a community of like-minded people who want to learn to be healthier and help others be healthier. So I'm planning to put out a lot more educational content in the future. I know this video was a bit more entertainment and comedy driven, but there was some education to it. Learning how to make a delicious, low-calorie treat that'll keep you satiated for a long time, hopefully prevent you from going over your daily calorie limit and just keep you in a calorie deficit. So there was some education to it, but look for more educational content in the future, and if that's something you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. I know this video was had some technical problems. Those are things I'll just have to learn to work through going forward. And there were a lot of jokes to hide my insecurities, but I mean, that's to be expected with a new YouTuber, right? I'd say you can think of me as like a less swole knockoff Will Tennyson. Look at this mess.